You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Ray Donovan After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Ray Donovan After Show.
Hey there, Ray Donovan fans. What's going on? Welcome to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Ray Donovan Season 2, Episode 2, Uber Ray. I'm Matt Lieberman, and joining me, as always, is the lovely and talented Miss Anna Koppel.
Hey, guys.
And the lovely and talented Mr. Isaac
thank
Johnson.
you so much, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Cornelia couldn't join us this week. She had some personal business, but we wish her well. We miss her.
Yes.
Send her some well wishes on the Twitter, and she will be back next week. But in her stead, we have a special guest. Mr. Jasper Cole is here.
How are you? So I'm a replacement?
Yeah, you're a special guest. You're special.
Okay.
You're not just a replacement. You're
How are you?
special. Yeah,
Thank you,
we're
guys.
very well.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So another solid episode of Ray Donovan. We're continuing to see sort of these pieces fall into place. A lot of last week, I feel, was just kind of catching up to people, and now we're kind of getting a sense of where this season is going to go. We have this new character in the form of Kate, our intrepid Boston Globe reporter, who is trying to get to the bottom of what happened last year. We have the FBI lying to everybody. Eddie Cochran and his wonderful cover band, Night Moves, as we just opened to, and the continuing evolution of Abby and Ray's marriage. And we're going to break it all down for you. But first, we have to talk, of course, about Mickey, who is now back in L.A. We're in the car on the way back from Mexico, and I was like, at first, I'm like, is he asleep, or did he just get like the crap beaten out of him, and he's just exhausted or conked out, as the kids might say?
I would imagine that he was kind of getting his drink on there at the bar while he was listening to Come a Little Closer.
Sure.
And he may have been inebriated at some point.
So maybe he was just sleeping it off.
Hungover, maybe?
Yeah, a bit of a hangover. Maybe he blacked out. I don't know.
Did you guys forget last week's episode?
Blackout.
First, he was hammered,
I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and Ray went in there with a bat. So,
But that's what I'm saying.
Right, so
It's
we
like,
never
did he
saw-
get
did he- yeah.
the snot beaten out of him, or was he just hungover?
Yes and yes. He was
Yes
both.
and yes.
There are no bruises. I don't know. Maybe he knocked him out and then took care of everyone else in the bar.
Okay, maybe he used that bat on everybody else but his father, who he just needed, a swift...
father?
Yeah, his
Yeah.
father.
Father.
Maybe he
Father.
just needed one quick conk to the back of the head.
Back of the head. That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right. But in any case, Mickey tells this story about the one summer that they spent together. They rented a house, and he's talking about it as this, really nice memory. And even Ray smiles a little bit when they're talking about, Ray's mother, and she really wanted lobster, and, she wound up throwing the lobsters away and making bologna sandwiches instead. I love that Mickey is treating this as if it's this beautiful memory, and Ray's just like, isn't that the summer that you started banging Claudette?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that isn't poisoned
No.
in his mind.
Well, and Mickey says, that's why you were born, Ray, just to be my judge. But I think it was really interesting. It was sort of a, everybody has their role, their quote role in a family, and it's interesting because I really think that Ray's role in the family is to be the caretaker and to put it, he's the fixer. He puts out everybody's fires, but the fact that Mickey sees him as his own personal judge is interesting to me.
Yeah, well, that's their relationship, is because Ray has to take care of everybody else, he's trying to keep Mickey at arm's length because Mickey is a destructive influence in his eyes. So, of course, he's going to look down on him because he's not ready. He's not ready to forgive him. He's not ready to take care of Mickey. I don't know that that's ever going to be something that he's able to do.
Well, and a lot of that's probably tied into what happened with him and the priest, and when he told his father he got a beating instead of being protected. So there's going to be a lot more resistance from Ray to, make amends with him. I don't think he ever will.
Yeah, what do you think, Jasper?
Well, in a strange kind of way, I think Mickey's a better father than Ray at times. I think when you watch how he handles the brothers and the other sons. So I always get a feeling sometimes that Ray's sort of, because he's so shut down.
Yeah.
You know, he's so like dead to that sort of, and he's not a great father so far.
It's actually a very interesting point of view, because while Mickey he's a lot warmer than Ray, I think, has the capacity to be, but he blindly pushes his own agenda onto these kids. You know, like Bunchy's sober, and he's always had a drinking problem, but whenever Mickey wants a drink, he's going to pull out that bottle and pour a cup for Bunchy.
Right.
You know, so like he is a warmer father, but at the same time, he doesn't have his kid's best interest at heart.
No, I mean, neither one are Father of the Year. But, I mean, you know, it's a weird dynamic, though, within the dysfunction.
What do you think, Anna?
Right. Well, I mean, it's like it's choosing. There's so much dysfunction going on, so it's
like a
pick and choose
buffet.
Right. Well, and I'm going to do the comparison. I think that Ray is a better father than Abby is a mother. But I think that, you know, all we really know about, we hear about a lot of Mickey's past fathering, you know, and I think he really wants to sort of make up for what happened then. And so he tries to show up in such a way now. But even now he has an angle and he has a manipulation and whatever. But I do think he's trying to do a lot of making up. But, you know, he says to Connor, you know, it's okay if you act in such a way, as long as you feel bad about it. You don't really have to do anything to make amends. You don't even have to apologize.
I like when he said, "We don't apologize."
We don't. We're Donovans. You know?
Donovans don't apologize.
Yeah, but I do see your point that even maybe showing the warmth.
I mean, on the surface,
right?
But he's more charming. I guess Mickey's much more charming.
Right, but sometimes, you know, they did that experiment with the monkeys have just like that cloth, and like they need just the.
What is this experiment?
The experiment was
thinking with the cloth.
They had like monkeys in a cage, and it was about affection. And the monkeys who had they had like a cloth, their mother, or nothing. And the monkeys that had the cloth survived better than the monkey. Am I crazy?
Well,
I've just never heard of this study. This is very fascinating.
No, it's a very famous experiment. Anyway, so
was that the same experiment where they came back and took over the planet?
No, that's not an experiment. That's a feature film.
Oh my gosh!
But the point is this: that maybe the something, even if it's completely dysfunctional and agenda pushing, might be better than the nothing.
Got it.
That Ray gives.
Sure. Exactly.
So,
that's fair.
Just to come all the way.
But you're sort of annoyed with the mother character too.
Oh, I think she's
like
awful.
I am too.
I think she's awful.
Could he just leave her?
It's hard for her to see past herself. Like that's the thing. Is Ray, while he has to put himself first, and he's got all this stuff to do that comes before his kids, he cares about them a great deal, and I think that when he does actively parent, he's actually quite good at it. When he connects with Bridget, when he connects with Connor. But the problem is he is so busy, and he does put so many other people before his kids that he's ultimately ineffective, which I think speaks to your point, Anna, where Abby has far more access to these kids, and she could be a far better influence to them, but chooses not to because she's still so caught up in her own feelings. Is that fair?
Yeah, she's completely self-involved, and I feel she's often hysterical, which is... Kids take that on.
It's true.
And for a parent to constantly be hysterical, those children will grow up anxious, and I just think.
Well, we'll get to Abby in a moment.
Okay.
I want to talk about Mickey's return. So. Ray brings him to the FBI, and I love this moment that Cochran has as he's about to make his speech. His wife is there, meaning that we're going to see her again. I think, you know, a bigger character, and also it signifies how large of a role Hank Azaria will be playing this season. If we're meeting his wife, if we're getting into his own personal life a little bit, I think we're going to see not just his interactions with Ray, but maybe get a little more of his inner life, what's driving him.
Did you recognize Sherilyn Fenn that plays the wife? Do you guys remember Twin Peaks?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been away for a while.
Yeah, but it's great to see her
back. That's what I love about the show. All the character actors that they bring on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and also I like Deb is also from Star Trek: The Next Generation, as well as Brent Spiner.
And Brent Spiner.
Yeah, we're going to get most of the cast.
The casting on this show is just so excellent.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I think we will see more of his family. There's a lot there, I guess.
Well, I think his relationship with Ray is going to be one of the key drivers of the drama this season, because Cochran ultimately holds all the cards. Right now, until Ray finds something on him, which he very well might not be able to, Cochran, has the power in this situation. He can keep Mickey in town. He could blow everything up if he wanted to. Well, actually, no. Let's talk about this, because he just lied. He just lied to the American public. He's in line to be the next head of the FBI, and he just lied to the American public to get the credit. So, if Ray wanted to blow up this whole situation, he could. It would just mean that he would probably go to prison. Probably, definitely.
Definitely.
What's the legal ramifications here?
For lying about a federal case?
Yeah. Probably prison. Probably prison. Prison for everyone involved.
If they
prison?
can prove it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
How would they ever? I'm sure he's covered his tracks, or he will.
Well, here's the thing: is I actually think who is Kate? Is that her name from the Boston Globe?
Yeah.
I actually think she holds all the cards. She has that picture of
Baby, of Sully's wife and Baby,
and the dog.
his girlfriend and Baby,
and Frank, the other FBI agent,
has Baby. And as soon as we saw him, Baby licking that liquor bottle, I'm just like, oh no, that's the smoking gun, the smoking dog, if you will. Yeah. Smoking dog gun.
So she might be able to blow it all up.
I agree, and we're going to talk about her in a second. I want to talk about as Ray and Mickey are coming in, and Mickey is wearing one of Ray's shirts, and he's so kind of blown away by how crisp and comfortable it is.
It's nice. What is this?
Cotton, Mick.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love both of them. Like the same way that Ray, when he walked into Ed's office last week, was like, "I'm Ray Donovan," and just kind of sat down and took over. Mickey's like, I'm Mickey Donovan. What do you want? And he's all set to go back to Mexico, and Ed just kind of rips the rug out from under him. It's like, no, you're on parole now, officially. There's this stack of papers that says you're on parole. This stack of papers that says you go to jail. I could send you to Guantanamo if I wanted to.
Yeah, for whatever I want, including, let's just pick JFK for example.
Yeah, you'll be a witness to a material crime, and you'll wind up wherever I want you to go, which takes both Ray and Mickey by surprise. They're both very taken aback because they thought this would be the end of it, but apparently not. Yeah. So Ray takes Mickey begrudgingly back to the gym, and no one is happy to see him. He's so excited. It's back to being, party days. The happy days are here again, and everyone is pissed that he's back.
Except for Bunch. Bunch gives him a solid hug.
Well, I don't think that he's happy to see him, but he's the quickest to acquiesce because that's who he is in this family. He is the one who's always trying to please his father and get the love. He's a puppy.
He's like the family dog.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Instead of the smoking dog, he's the happy dog. Yeah. He's the dog with the least smoke.
Right. Bless his heart.
Yeah.
Very Southern of you.
Yeah, poor Bunch.
Yeah, poor Bunch. And I love that he got his job. He got his job. And I'm very, very concerned that with Mickey back, he's such a destructive force. I mean, if Ray hadn't said something, I feel like Bunch would have taken that drink. I feel like where Mickey is involved, he has very little self-control. Very, very little. And the fact that Mickey's back in town makes me very, very concerned for Bunchy's sobriety, for his continued growth as a person. He's very, very reductive, Mickey. He's a reductive influence.
Yeah, well, he did talk when he sort of chases Ray out at the gym when Ray's leaving. He just said, I'm stronger now. Everything's going to be okay. I think he's got his mind set on perhaps where he wants to go. It's whether or not Mickey's going to derail him from his path there.
Yeah. What do you think, Anna?
Well, I think it depends on how much Bunchy allows Mickey into his life.
Right. He did kick him out of his apartment last year. He did make a stand.
Right.
Right, but I think just him saying to Ray, I'm stronger now, concerns me as a statement, because he kicked Mickey out when he'd had it, he was at a bottom. So for him, that was a time when he was just like, I can't take this anymore. But when he's feeling stronger, I have a job, he might be like, yeah, sure,
right,
move in with me again.
I have some structure in my life. I can handle this now. I can handle the pressure of you being here, Dad. I want to love you now. Let's do this.
You can't live in a place like this. Move in with me again.
Yeah.
Probably.
So Mickey is hooked up with a parole officer in the form of Lupita, who is really taking it easy on him. Really, really, really. She wants him to take this drug test, and he admits that he had a drop a scotch that morning with his sons, and that he would fail that test. When we know that when he was in Mexico, he was doing drugs as well. He wasn't just drinking.
Yeah, I thought that. I was wondering, is the drug test for alcohol? It's probably for other drugs.
For everything.
Yeah, for everything.
Yeah. And she's really taking it easy on him, kind of like a dream scenario. And as we're watching this, I'm just like, oh man, he's just going to manipulate the crap out of this woman. She has no idea what she's dealing with. And I was really, really concerned. By the end of the episode, of course, we learned that that's not going to be a big issue.
She's
not
out.
At all.
She's out.
Yeah, she's on the outs. Connor also, before that, gives Mickey a call. Connor, we again see him talking with his good friend Tommy Wheeler. A hilarious little cameo by Tommy, whose lady friend shows off her chest to young Connor. And I love, as he's saying goodbye, he's ducking out of frame to snort cocaine. I'm just like, how are neither Ray nor Abby shutting this friendship down? How? It's incredible. It's an incredibly bad influence. I know that he said that he could handle it and that he's a smart kid, but between the violence and this influence, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it seems like since she's monitoring the Uber, she would be it looks like the mother would monitor his
internet,
his chats. Well, she's not getting receipts, and she's not getting her receipts in the email from a chat.
Yeah.
It's hooked up to her credit card, so of course she's going to get receipts from Uber. First of all, $47 is an expensive ride, no matter how you slice it. Okay, I don't care how much you make. That's a crazy amount.
Clearly, that's not an issue for them.
Yeah. But she's not going to get a receipt in her email every time that he talks to Tommy Wheeler. No one's talking to him about it. They let him go to the Kids' Choice Awards with him. Ray had to clean him up last year. He knows what Tommy Wheeler's about, and he still lets him hang out with Connor or talk to Connor. It's bad news.
Yeah, well, and Connor also, lied. What are you doing? Oh, nothing. So he clearly knows that he needs to hide it from his parents.
I know.
But this goes back to Abby not being a good mother. Connor clearly has issues right now, whether or not it has to do with Tommy Wheeler. He's been suspended from school. He maybe needs a little bit more supervision right now. Maybe he should be in counseling or something. Maybe he shouldn't just be hanging out. Maybe he should lose his computer privileges for the week. He doesn't need
he's suspended. He's just at home. It doesn't feel like a punishment.
No, he's just hanging out. Right, exactly. So, maybe if he's online chatting, mom can be monitoring those chats. He should be having them.
She's trying on lingerie.
Right.
She doesn't have time.
Yeah.
She got yoga.
She's got yoga. She's got a lot of things to do. She's very busy. But even Ray, right? He stops into Connor's room and he just asks him what he's doing. Connor says nothing. And he just takes him at his word and he leaves. When he could have used this as a moment to A, apologize for not being there to take him to this kid's house and apologize.
Right.
And B, connect with him and talk to him about what he did. And just, or even be the strict parent and say, get off that computer, you're suspended. None of that. None of that.
Well, in some ways, I feel like the writer makes him an archetype of so many fathers today, working dads who are disconnected. I know they have different
jobs that involve way less murder and
but there's always a brilliant the way Ann Bitterman does that. It's she always shows he could just be the banker, but he's disconnected.
Yeah.
So many fathers, I think, walk into the room today and say, "Oh, okay. Fine. How was school? Really? Good.
Yeah. Okay. Glad everything's all above board, pal.
Right.
I'm gonna go take care of some business.
Exactly. Yeah. That's interesting to me.
Yeah. So Connor instead turns to his grandpa. And Grandpa encourages him to come down to the gym and see him. He takes an Uber, and he tries to teach Connor a lesson. He almost pushes him down the stairs, and Connor's like, "What are you doing?" And Mickey is like, "You see what you did? What you did was a bitch move. You do too many of those in the can, you're gonna get shanked without any warning."
And whose grandfather hasn't
Given them that kind of lesson. That, or a mouth is a mouth.
Lesson, right?
My grandfather did not.
No, your grandfather didn't teach you the seminal mouth is a mouth lesson either?
No, he did not teach me that lesson.
Wow.
It's not gay if he just does it on you? No,
no, I didn't get that lesson.
Not yet.
Yeah, but that's the thing. For all of his perversity and just flat out wrongness and what he's teaching this kid, at least Mickey's teaching him something.
Some sort of principle. I did really like that he was like, well, how did it happen, or did you push him in the back? And he doesn't like that. That's unacceptable.
It's like, I can't condone that.
Yeah, I can't condone that. I thought that was cool.
Isn't that enough, though? Can't he just say, I can't condone that? And also, isn't it also not okay to do that on the schoolyard? Does it have to be in prison? You'll get shamed?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, everything's relative, right?
Yeah.
To what life experience. Yeah.
Spent a good chunk of his life in prison.
Yeah, you have to draw from your own experience.
Yeah.
That's true.
And also, Connor, he loves his grandpa and he thinks his grandpa's cool. He finds him to be a role model. So
Like
relating it to prison, I think, is the easiest way to get Connor to be on board with the advice. Connor is very enamored with the life of his criminal grandpa.
But I think saying that sort of subconsciously sets up for when you're in prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Assuming you're going to be there eventually.
Do we want to make a long-term prediction and say that Connor is going to make his way to juvie before he turns 18?
Ray Donovan season 20.
Well, no, by season 20, he's going to be an adult. Okay, I'm saying juvie.
He's a teenager now.
Yeah, I feel like
you know what? He could be in how old is he now? Like 15?
Is he in high school?
Yeah, he's in high school.
Okay.
He could be like Ray Donovan season 5 or 6. Really?
Yeah, he could be. He could wind up in prison. But I think that makes a lot of sense for his character trajectory. Ugh, what's up with my mouth today?
A mouth is a mouth.
That's true, unless it's not working. Okay, before we move on, I just want to talk really quickly about iTunes. People, I say it every week, don't skip ahead because it's very, very important. What's important? Go to iTunes, rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch. We here at AfterBuzz TV, we put out between 60 and 70 hours of free content a week. It's a crazy amount of content. It's all available for you for free on YouTube, on iTunes, on Stitcher. How could you support our network? I'll tell you. You go to iTunes, you rate and review those shows, you give us 5 stars if you feel it, because it's the easiest way for people to find our podcast. It makes it easier to find on iTunes. It makes it easier for sponsors to trust that we're putting out a quality product. It's the best way for us to know that we're giving you the best possible Ray Donovan podcast that we can. So, it just takes a second. It doesn't cost a dime. We'd really appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you.
And there was no teleprompter for that.
No.
I mean, that was brilliant.
Matt is what they call a professional.
That's
good for you.
What some people call me. I like live reads. They're my favorite. We have this other parole officer in the mix. Ray asks Avi to look into every parole officer in L.A.
Frank, I thought, no?
Oh, he has Frank. Yeah. He has Frank to look into it, and Avi goes through all the information and pulls out Ronald Keith, a guy who's in a little financial trouble. He's got a gambling problem, and he just gambled away all of the money he needed for his daughter's beautiful $15,000 wedding dress.
Small fee to pay for a wedding dress.
Yeah, small price to pay for a perfect day.
But she's never asked for anything else. She paid her own way through college and everything. Never asked him. So one thing
it's not unreasonable in his eyes, and I get it. I get why he'd want to be able to give her that because she's been a model daughter and that she hasn't really asked anything of him. It's not out of the question, and he just screwed up big time, which is perfect for our man Ray, who puts him under his thumb quite easily after a few drinks and a nice little package of cash. Just a nice little package of cash.
He took the bride pretty easy, didn't he? I didn't see a lot of resistance. I mean, it was pretty easy.
Yeah. It was a tiny bit. He said,
tiny little bit of resistance.
For this, and
then he's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Well, hold on. I'm just wrapping my head around
just getting used to the idea, baby.
Yeah.
Don't rush off.
Yeah, don't just sit down. Cool your heels, baby.
Watch.
You're beautiful. Yeah,
the watch still the deal. Yeah.
The Daytona.
Nice watch. Yeah. What is that?
What do you call that? What do you call that, a watch?
Daytona.
And he was
Thank
in.
you.
That was it.
Okay, yeah,
Boom.
and it was perfect. And Ronald shows up at the gym, and he's all stoic. And I love Wendell Pierce. I'm always happy to see him
Great
pop
actor.
up. Again, the casting on a show, it's so good.
John Papsadera, casting director.
Yes.
Shout out to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great guy.
And he's like, "You're not going to stay at this gym. People gamble here. This is not a place for you." It's like, "What? Oh, come on. That can't be possible." It's like, it is possible. And if you don't listen to me, I'm going to throw you in jail. So he takes him to this awful little bachelor somewhere in Hollywood, this bachelor apartment, and he hands him a slip for his job that he has to show up at 5 in the morning. And I love, like, Jon Voight's performance. I mean, he's great in every episode, but this moment where he enters the apartment and he realizes what his life has to be now, or he winds up back in prison, is really heartbreaking. The fear on his face is so palpable. It was just a really, really beautiful, quiet moment.
Well, as we see, like, Voight being, let's call it charming with Lupita, this is not going to work on Ronald.
No.
And I think he's realizing, as much as he's been able to skirt people and sort of talk his way out of almost any situation, this is when maybe he realizes Ronald means business and he's not going to be able to. So that moment at the apartment was like, I might really have to toe the line here.
Yeah, he's out of cards to play. He's in a corner, finally. After, 14 episodes, he's finally in a corner that he can't back himself out of.
But did you notice he was trying to charm him on the way in, telling the jokes and about the...
That's very charming, telling a racist joke, too.
I myself...
in his, Mickey's way.
I myself love a good black joke. I'm all about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't work for him, but yeah.
What do you think, Anna?
Well, no, I mean, I actually did feel bad, and then, like you said, it was just the acting is outstanding always. But yeah, I couldn't, I just felt so sad for him. Like, why am I feeling so much compassion for this jerk? But
yeah. Oh well. Also, just a fun, quick moment that I want to talk about is we're trying to get dirt on Eddie Cochran, and Lena's like, "Oh man, this is too easy. He's not going home. He's going to a hotel by the airport. He's wearing a tight white T-shirt and a leather vest. He's got a bandana.
Yeah.
Oh my God, younger girlfriend, something. Oh wait. Oh no, he's pulling a guitar out of it." He's in a cover band. How lame is that? And he's looking like Springsteen, Eddie in the Undercovers, and he performs his cover of Night Moves, which, it's so clearly lip-synced. So why did they change the key? They made it lower. I don't know. That's me nitpicking, just song nitpicking, which is just dumb. But
it's just great to see Hank Azaria getting to play all these different drama and,
Yeah,
yes.
He's great.
It was a great moment of levity.
Yes.
And clearly, as we sort of touched on earlier, we're definitely going to see more of him. He's going to have a big storyline. If they're giving him a cover band, they're going to give him a storyline.
That's a sign that he's going to have a lot to do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've talked a bit about Abby, but let's talk about what's going on with her this week. We got into the sexual relationship of Abby and Ray last week, and Ray again being hypersexual and forcing himself on Abby, and Abby this time she says no, she stops him, she slaps him, and she says she feels raped. She used a lot of I feel statements this week, which means that her therapist is arming her with the tools to really address some of the issues in her marriage, and I really appreciate that. To me, while it's not necessarily a sign of growth, it's a sign that things potentially could change for the better. That's what I do like about it.
I think it's growth. I mean, I was really happy we talked about that last week, that, at some point she's going to have to tell him no. And she really stood up for her. I mean, I see that as growth. And then, trying to talk to him in the shower and really give him, all the reasons that, do you know how aggressive you're being? Do you know how it makes me feel? All these kinds of things. I thought that was a great moment for her as a character, even though, she can be, tough to deal with as a character sometimes.
Right.
I like that she stood up for herself and really told him what was up. I mean, he didn't respond to her, but at least she's putting it out.
Putting it out there is important.
Yeah.
Anna?
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She just always seems that there's an agenda, because it's like right after that, buy me something, buy me a house, or move me up to the next. She's so materialistic. She wants to be in the big club.
She's obsessed with Truesdale.
She's just obsessed with it. Yeah.
I agree 1,000%. First of all, back to I feel raped. I think rape is a sensitive word for Ray. I don't know that I would have used that necessarily. I also think that he immediately is in the shower. If she wants to say, I talk to him about this. And clearly he's going through his own feelings of rape. Maybe when he's naked is not the time to talk to him about this. I think...
And also, I think he got in that shower to kind of like, not just to cool down, but for a moment to himself.
Right. So maybe give him that moment. Also, I think, like, I'll suck your dick for a house isn't, like, the best message. I just think she's awful.
She's very manipulative, yeah.
She is.
I hadn't even thought about that. She really does kind of invade that moment. Ray's trying to have a moment to himself. He's the person who everyone turns to with their problems. He never really has anything to himself. So, to have this private moment, I think matters a lot.
And then she always makes it about herself. It's like she bangs on it like she's so frustrated.
But
like
doesn't she have a right to have needs and to have wants? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, but in a reasonable time, in a reasonable time frame. Like he's in the shower. Who wants to talk about anything in the shower ever?
No one. It's not really the time or place.
No.
Maybe for jokes. But no. You've never joked in the shower? No? All right.
Or, she could have maybe seduced it. I mean, she could have taken the lead there to be more, I don't know, done something a little more.
Or like tried to guide him into the kind of sexual relationship that she wants.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Where she doesn't feel raped.
Right.
Let me show you how,
And also, when, he buys her this house, like, he's making a gesture, and he's saying, we'll be happy here, we'll figure it out, and, instead of saying, like, thank you, this means so much to me, and this is something I've wanted for a long time, or whatever, and, like, having that sort of, like, romantic, this is for our family moment, she goes right to sucking his dick.
Which, goes back on the point that she was trying to make earlier. She's trying to establish parameters for a sexual relationship, and now she's showing him, maybe even just subconsciously, that if you buy me things, if you give me the things that I want, I'll let you have sex with me however you wish. I'm not really committed to active change.
Right.
Yeah.
In a weird way, that's how the priests manipulate the children in a strange kind of way. Yeah. They groom them and they
show them attention,
give them gifts, and I don't know. It's kind of weird, but
it's definitely the wrong message to be sending him. No, that's a really salient point, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I got that feeling. I was like, something isn't right here. Like something weird's gonna happen. Then it just ended. I'm like, oh, maybe not. But that was like the feeling that I was.
Well, we linger on Ray's face, and we were left to wonder what's really going through his head. But making sex part of a transaction between partners is definitely damaging for someone who's dealing with a past with abuse.
Yeah, it doesn't really reinforce her point to him from the beginning of the episode. I actually thought like, oh, well, he's sort of heard her and he sort of wants to do something romantic for her, which I don't know, buying a house is romantic, but he wants to do something.
Well, it's romantic to give someone their dream house. I think.
I mean, they have a really nice house in Canada.
I know. She
doesn't want it. She wants Truesdale.
She's got bigger dreams.
Truesdale.
But you notice there's a whole pattern, even with, forgive me, the actor that likes transsexuals. What's his?
Tommy Wheeler.
He's even grooming the son.
Connor, by giving him attention.
There's this whole grooming thing that happens with the pedophilia. There's always this underlying weirdness of...
That's interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. Or either my mind is
but I think
seeing
it's
it. But
I think you're.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's
and I
certainly
think
up to something.
It's a fair point that they don't know how to communicate sexually. Sex is, for him a compulsion. For her, it's a tool. I think that she uses it in some ways. And we have this scene where she's in yoga class after after the morning, and everyone's leaving, and she doesn't want to leave yet. She doesn't want to leave what I think is ultimately feels like a safe place. And she says to the yoga instructor, I feel you're looking at me like you see me. He's like, I do see you. And we know that's BS.
Such new age.
I do see you. And she's like, you do.
I see you, Matt.
You do, don't
I see you now.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Do you guys want a moment?
I think they're having one.
I think we're in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, so she hauls off and just makes out with him, and he's at first resistant and then totally into it, and then she breaks it off and she runs, and she gets in the car and she lights up a smoke, and she enjoys this private moment of like, oh, what a thrill, look, what did I just do? Oh man, that was awesome. I took something, I got mine.
I believe that's a paraphrase, but Anna called that last week, that
there would be some
extramarital activity.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little steamier than that, but...
Oh, you're disappointed.
Well, I mean, she wasn't, so I guess I should be just as excited.
Well, it made her feel hot. She came home with some Agent Provocateur, and she put it on, and much enjoyment was had by the audience.
Macrame something.
What? No, I thought it was nice. I liked it.
It looked painful, kind of. I don't know what could have been on
Although,
it.
when she does show up at the house in Truesdale and she has it on underneath her clothes, why doesn't Ray
question it one bit?
Hey, is that what you wear? I don't think you wear that every day under your clothes.
This is new. When did you get this?
Because he's so disconnected. He doesn't care.
But he said, meet me at this address. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe...
I know, but like... after the fight that they were having, I feel like it's a mixed message because it makes it look like sex was expected on her end. I don't know. We're talking about the transaction nature of the sex in this relationship, and they still haven't really discussed what this sex life should be and what works for both of them. He's not sharing on that front, but then she's also not telling him what she wants or guiding him through it. She's not helping him connect with her in a meaningful way because he's so closed off that she's going to have to extend more of herself to draw him closer to where he needs to be to support her, and she's not picking up her slack in that regard.
She's always telling him what he's doing wrong. She's always correcting him. She says to him outside of the gym, "This is so belittling. It makes me feel like a child." But she's always yelling at him like he's a child.
Right.
It's so she doesn't treat him with the kind of respect that he deserves as a man, as her husband. But she expects, everything in return.
And she's also really upset with him about the Mickey thing, and she knows his relationship with Mickey. She knows that he can't stand Mick.
Yeah.
And he tells him, it wasn't my idea to have him back, but she doesn't really seem to hear
But
that.
she brought him back.
All right. Unfortunately, we have to move on. I'm sorry, but we have to talk about Kate. We have to talk about Terry and Francis in June. Yeah. Yes. So, Kate, this Boston Globe reporter, she doesn't buy Eddie Cochran's story one bit. She knows that Sully wasn't out there for 6 to 8 months, and she, goes to investigate against her editor's wishes. And she goes and she talks to Sully's mom, who opens up and starts talking about how Mickey Donovan's a piece of shit, and that his girlfriend took her to get her hair done every week for a long, long time, and definitely stokes the fire of curiosity. Now she's got a lead. Who's Mickey Donovan? What does he have to do with Sully? Why? What can this mean? So she goes and she talks to the girlfriend's mother, who we saw. She called her right before she was murdered last season, and she takes a picture of her and baby, and we know, okay, Kate's coming out to L.A. She's got some damning evidence. She's going to keep pulling at threads until the whole thing comes threadbare. Very, very, very nervous for all of our favorite characters. Yes. How do you guys feel? Sorry, I kind of summed it up.
Well, I think she's got to have a big storyline coming up. She's going to be huge.
She's got a very aggressive energy. I feel like she's not going to stop till she gets what she wants.
She has sex with Ray.
Well, we'll talk about that in predictions, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think she's more of a threat to the FBI than anything.
Right.
So.
The idea of being able to be the person who broke the story on the FBI lying to the American people about capturing and killing FBI's most wanted is a big, big win for her.
Right.
Right. And the only evidence is that dog.
So I'm very, very nervous for that dog.
That poor dog.
I hope we don't get a dog murder over this. No. I really hope we don't.
Well, the dog is drinking booze. So,
so maybe the dog problem will take care of itself.
Maybe.
Yeah. So Frances comes to see Ray. She comes to the office because, as we saw last week, Terry's been stalking her. He's been leering outside of her house. He's been a peeping Tom. And, she's nervous that Ray has been the one who's been sending her because of what she knows. Because she knows that the priest was murdered. and Ray, he doesn't really say much. He's just kind of like, what'd you see? What'd you see, Francis?
Yeah, I think he's just allowing her to draw her own conclusions. I don't think that Ray would, well, maybe to protect himself, like he would do something with her or her family or threaten them.
Well, I think he knows that if she's coming here, if she's this nervous, and the reason why he hasn't had someone following her is because he knows that she's not a threat. She's not the kind of person who would say something. She doesn't want to get involved. She's more afraid than anything else. And she has her lingering feelings for Terry, which are far less aggressive than Terry's feelings. Because he followed her to Ray's office, and he's chasing her down the street, and she's like, get away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm trying to protect my family. And Terry comes up to the office, and he just hauls off and slams Ray in the face, and they're fighting. And I'm worried that Terry is coming increasingly unhinged due to this whole event. He really has a lot of guilt about this priest murder.
He's been drinking more, too.
Yeah, he's sort of out of control.
Yeah.
It's coming apart.
Yeah.
But I love Brooke Smith, who plays, what's her name?
Frances. Yeah.
I'm terrible with character names.
That's all right.
But remember Silence of the Lambs?
She's very, very real, and she's very, very earnest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did also feel like pretty bad for Terry. Like, I know that he didn't want to ruin her marriage, I guess, but he's still obviously pretty hung up on her. And it was just a really sad moment to see like the look on his face when Ray's like, she's married, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
But that's, I think she actually ultimately can be a threat because she has kids, and if she's ever questioned about anything, of course she's going to tell them what she knows in exchange for protection, and go into witness protection, whatever, and get moved maybe. What mother wouldn't do that to protect her kids?
True.
And she wasn't great to Terry. You know, to start, I mean, if you think
she
about
lied.
it.
She lied about her marriage.
I mean, she was not really that great to start with.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Very, very curious to see how that goes. The one lingering thing is Ezra once again trying to get the Ruth Goldman Cancer Center up and running. And
Ezra.
He is trying to track down all of the pledges that people have yet to fulfill while he was sick, including one June Wilson, who pledged $5 million. And Ray really doesn't want to go. He tries to talk Ezra out of it, and Ezra is like, no, you're going. This is happening. And so Ray dresses up in his finest suit. He puts on an even better watch than the one he had on. And he goes down to this restaurant where Anne Margaret...
Oh, looking amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Go Anne.
Yeah. Anne Margaret's there with her young date.
Carlos.
Chico.
Whatever.
And she tells him to get lost. And... obviously, she and Ray have some kind of past. They're very tender towards each other.
Do you think it was possibly romantic at some point?
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, granted, he came out here with Abby. I mean, we saw him, sleep with Ashley last season, but that was like one time. For a guy who does a lot of dirty work, he's pretty committed to his marriage. Just in terms of like he tries to keep it in the pants. I think.
Committed as you can be.
She's
by
like, really?
cheating on your wife.
Well, just okay.
I would say that's a lack of.
I would just expect it to happen more. This is showtime.
Honey, it was only once. I swear.
The one time last season, and by the way, it was more than once last season. It was just one person last season.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay, well,
that this
he's even committed.
okay,
in
if
his
we're counting
cheating.
the time that she forced herself on him while he was driving,
Right.
listen,
then
gentlemen.
that's 2 times.
Stop
then
the
that's
car.
2.
Things happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Stop the car.
Yeah.
That's
Not ever dating.
It does.
any
It
of you.
does. It does.
Well.
It does read romantic.
Right.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
yeah, it certainly does.
And you don't bring Anne Margaret. I mean, she's going to have a storyline for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Coming up. I'm
And
sure.
I loved her performance in this episode, and just that whole scene is just electric.
And so we also know she likes younger men. And by the way, I think that's something that men always do to each other when they like whatever each other's names. That's like such a thing that they do.
Oh, like when they're both interested in the same woman, or
Yeah.
they've both been involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, he does say to take care of her. Like
Go easy on her.
yeah, go easy on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't break her hip.
Yeah.
She's 85. There is that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's 85.
She's not 85.
In any case,
75.
I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. Another great character addition to this
I do have a
cast.
question. Like, Ray's got a thing with the watches. He's very careful about them. He doesn't like giving it up. I don't necessarily know what it symbolizes, but I was curious to ask you guys what you thought about the watches, because he seems really particular about them.
Interesting.
We haven't really gotten into watches, but, I mean, they are a male status symbol.
And Abby was also, like, messing with hers when he went and grabbed her from behind today. So I don't know, but I do have a prediction about watches.
Okay. Well, let's get into our predictions, shall we?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Tell us about watches, Anna.
Well, I think that, Ray just handed off his watch, and I predict there might be some sort of watch engraving, or there's only so many watches of that particular type, and that's going to come back.
You think it's another smoking gun, a smoking watch?
A smoking watch.
Well, smoking going on here.
Yeah.
Abby smoked.
And then the other prediction that I have is that Mickey's going to hire a stand-in for something, either his job or his ankle bracelet, but he's got a way around all of this.
Okay, very curious to see how that pans out. I do agree. We have that moment, and I before we talk about it, if anyone doesn't want to hear about the scenes from next week, I would suggest you stop listening now, because they are definitely going to come up. So thank you for listening. But so Kate and Ray have a confrontation, a tete-a-tete, if you will, in the next episode, and she is standing very close to him, and he remarks about it, and there is a little heat. I'm going to say there's a little heat behind the scene. So I know, Jasper, you were saying...
I think I already
you think
blew that earlier,
she's...
no pun intended.
Right.
But yeah, definitely felt there's got to be something happening there.
I think that it's not necessarily going to be 100% professional. Time will tell if it actually leads to something romantic.
Right.
Yeah. Isaac?
My prediction is that Eddie and the Undercovers going to start playing bigger venues. No more LAX. They might move up to the Troob, the Troubadour.
The Troob.
Perhaps the Whiskey A Go or someplace like that.
Okay. Any more relevant predictions?
No.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Jasper, any other ideas?
Well, back to Anne Margaret, I think there's got to be something coming up with her.
Right, because it's a substantial amount of money, and she remarks that, Ezra Goldman, you know what kind of man he is, Ray. And Ezra, because he was sick last season, he seemed kind of ineffectual. But this is a guy who employs Ray Donovan, who has done a lot of shady stuff for a long time. So he's not going to let this debt stand, and he's not going to let Ray get in the way of it. And part of me thinks, and maybe this is just because Elliot Gould is now on Mulaney on Fox starting this fall, that Ezra is not going to live out this season, and that ultimately he and Ray are going to come to a head, and Ezra is going to be going bye-bye
at the
end of this season.
Because there's a reason Ray doesn't want her to pay him back.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, maybe Ezra's going to come after Ray, perhaps, for ripping up that check.
Maybe. Or
we don't know what kind of man he is.
Yeah, or he's going to come after June. Something bad's going to happen in June, and that's going to spur Ray into action. I also think that it would be really great dramatic territory to have Ray have to kill his sort of surrogate father, the guy who took care of him after Mickey let him down. Yeah.
Isn't there a chance Ezra could blow this whole FBI thing also?
He could try to find a deal for himself. Yeah. Entirely possible.
True.
Yeah. All right. If no one else has any other predictions. Real quick, Jasper, what are you up to right now? Where can people see you?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm in the new film, The Purge, Anarchy.
Great.
I have
just
what's called
open
a
this weekend.
cameo. I'm a homeless guy, but then there's like 50 homeless people. But I do get the credit of homeless guy.
Yes.
I'm also going to be at Comic-Con next weekend. I'll be there the 26th and the 27th, signing and promoting and doing that fun stuff.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at Jasper Cole Says, SAYS, and Facebook. And JasperCole.com is my website.
All right, fantastic. Yeah. Anna, where can the people find you?
You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR.
Okay, and Isaac Johnson.
You can find me on Twitter at Isaac Johnson, Instagram, The Isaac Johnson. You can check out my album on iTunes. It's called All the Things We Are.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can also find all my videos for SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd on YouTube. If you're watching us live, you can watch me do the Strain After Show in about 2 hours. Also doing Under the Dome, Halt and Catch Fire with Isaac, a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, see you next week. Good night. Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.